Hey, thanks so much for joining us on Leading in the Moment as we all make it through this strange time together. One of the huge needs in our community is making sure that people are getting fed. So we are joined today by Dave Richens, who is the CEO of United Food Bank. Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I know this is a really crazy time for you guys. I've seen some of the images of people lined up early in the morning to get food, and it just really speaks to the need in our community right now. How much would you say that need has increased since this pandemic began?
You know, we went from about 500 families each week at our Friday distribution called Help Yourself. The next week we saw 1,200. We outgrew the space that we were doing the distribution. One of the members of my team called the City of Mesa to use their convention center so we could create a drive-through distribution to be able to do it safer, maintain social distancing. That first one, we saw over 2,200 families. And a lot of job loss, recent job loss, a lot of our regulars as well.
So as this pandemic carries on and we're seeing more and more people getting furloughed, getting laid off altogether, is this need going to continue to increase? What's that forecast look like in your opinion?
We saw the first time we did the drive-through distribution, we saw over 2,200 families. The next week we did it, we saw about the same number. So we're planning for around 2,500 on this Friday. I do think the need has grown a little bit week over week, but that first week of the month, a lot of families get their SNAP benefits if they're already receiving food assistance. So those SNAP benefits recharged, people were able to go to the grocery stores and get some of what they needed. So I think as we go through April, as layoffs continue to occur, I think we'll probably see upwards to 2,500 to 3,000 families at our Friday distribution.
So typically this would be tax time, Dave, and I know that a lot of people, they get in those last minute donations for the tax credit, and a lot of people choose United Food Bank to help out. So with the tax deadline being delayed to July, is that having an impact on you?
You know, the public has been super generous with food banks right now, so it's really hard for us to tell. People are recognizing how food banks are on the front lines of helping families that are suffering from job loss. And so we've seen an outpouring of support from the community here in Arizona. And so that's, I think, masked a little bit the tax issue. So, you know, with any luck, people doing their taxes later in the summer will help us when we're past on the other end of this and we're trying to get everything put back together after trying to serve so many families.
Yeah, and I was wondering about that too, because I've done stories on the food bank many times and been connected to you guys for a while, and I know that summer push is really necessary. Hopefully those donations come at a good time, but could we be looking at potentially a kind of perfect storm of more people being out of jobs and the summertime slowdown hitting together?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what recovery looks like and how long that really takes. You know, is it a V or is it a U? You know, does it draw itself out over the next several months? You know, we're going to anticipate that it's going to take through December to see a lot of things normalize. And so the plans that we've made are for the rest of this calendar year. Summer is a big time that we see a drop-off in food donations. We see a drop-off in financial donations. We do, with 12 News as our partner, we do Summer of a Million Meals. We're excited to be doing that again this year to really see if we can keep funding coming in during the summertime. Our food donations have dropped off dramatically through our food drives. You know, corporations don't have people in their offices anymore, so we're not getting the food donations we used to. The grocery stores have so many people purchasing, particularly shelf-stable products. We're not getting the same food donations from the grocery store where we usually see 8 million pounds a year. So we're seeing already a 40% decrease in those donations from grocery stores. So we're trying to navigate all of that while we anticipate we've had a surge in funding now. And as we do as Americans, we meet the need, and then we move on to other issues. And so we expect a drop off in those revenues later in the year. So we'll use our money wisely.
Wow, a 40% decrease is very, very dramatic. So that's just crazy to think about at this time when the increase in demand has been so serious. What can we do to help? I mean, if you need more volunteers, do you have enough? What can we do?
I'm glad you asked about volunteers. It's an area that we worry about a lot because we rely on thousands of volunteers every year to come to the food bank to help us bag emergency food boxes, to help us sort through donated food, and that need continues. And so we need to rely on those volunteers. We use 50 or 60 volunteers just for this drive-through distribution we're doing every Friday. So we've taken steps in our volunteer center to sanitize things 6 days a week. We have everybody washing hands, wearing gloves, wiping things down in between shifts, doing all of the precautions we can do. We have masks and gloves available. We're even encouraging people over about 50 years old to think twice about volunteering and putting themselves at risk. Those that do choose to continue to volunteer, we really appreciate you, and we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe. The bad side of it is with all the companies closed, the corporate volunteer stream that we're used to completely dried up. And so just about every group canceled at the end of February for March and into April. We put out a call for volunteers, and the news media was generous with their time in helping us get the word out. We've had a surge in individual volunteers now, people that are in their families, kids in high school that aren't in school, a wide variety, including the National Guard as deployed by Governor Ducey, have come out to help us in the food bank. So right now, we have a few openings available, but we're booked all the way through the end of April, and we're starting to book into May. And so volunteers is kind of a good news story for us, and the surge to see how Arizona responded to the call.
I'm so happy to hear that. I really wasn't expecting that answer, especially, with people afraid to leave their houses, but you guys are taking all the precautions.
I wanted to mention real quick that volunteers are covered as an essential job in the governor's order. And so people, even though we have a stay at home recommendations from the government, coming out to volunteer is one of those things that you can go do under the terms of that order.
That's good to know too, so that we can, make sure that people are still going to fill that need. I know that we've talked to here at STN some different restaurants who've been, they're taking a really hard hit now, of course, with their dining rooms being closed. They're not being able to serve all the meals that they would have before, but that did mean that they had some extra food that was already in their kitchens. Talk a little bit about some of that give that you have received from restaurants here in town.
Yeah, sure. One of the first ones was Oregon Stop Pizza. Oregon Stop Pizza is an institution in Mesa. Everybody's been there at least once to see that grand organ that they have over there. They emptied their refrigerator of ingredients for us and brought it over to the food bank to make sure that food could go for beneficial use instead of just going bad. Our collaborative partner is Waste Not. They're a subsidiary of United Food Bank. They do a great job out there engaging with our restaurant and catering partners. So we've seen donations from major resorts throughout the Phoenix metro area, sports stadiums when spring training closed suddenly. M Culinary and Elastic Catering are two notable caterers in the valley that were very generous with donations to us as they looked at closures and the cancellation of events. Small donations from Cartel Coffee or Denny's or, just little places. Hey, we have leftover milk, we have eggs, we have this, a few items here and there. So the restaurant community, even as they've struggled, are really trying to find ways to continue to serve the public. It's really a good news story. And fortunately, United Food Bank and Waste Not were ready to receive those donations and get them to the people that need them immediately.
On that note, during this really difficult time, what else have you seen that has made you feel good about our community and good about how we're going to bounce back from this?
I it's been the daily miracle. We keep a tally of the daily miracle here at the food bank, whether it's a large corporate donation, sometimes it's a food donation, sometimes it's just a high touch service for an individual or a shut-in elderly person that you hear about. But the stories, it's just every day something that is just jaw-droppingly amazing happens. And you know, the beautiful thing about America and Arizona is its resilience. You know, we will emerge with some valuable lessons learned about how we react in crisis. We're going to emerge with new ideas and new creativity, and we're already starting to see that play out. My team. To come up with the idea, my director of external affairs, Tyson Nansel, you know Tyson, we were talking about how to serve more people. He came ready for an idea. He had done his homework for it. We talked to the city of Mesa. They embraced the idea. And to be able to turn the switch from a walk-up distribution to a drive-through distribution at a remote location is no easy task. But through creative partnerships like cities and volunteers and United Food Bank, we were able to put together an incredible event. I can't say enough great things about Mesa Police Department, the Transportation Department, the Parks and Recreation Department. All of those folks stepped right up saying, there's a need in the community, we want to help. And so seeing those entities come together, and I think the other thing that's been amazing are our 200 agency partners, about 95% of them committing to stay open through this and adjust their operations in a way that continues to serve the public. We were scared to death that our agency network would collapse. We serve over 200 agencies in Arizona. If those guys closed, we were going to have a lot of trouble. We have a lot of food. We continue to get food in the door. We can restock all of those agencies. So if you need assistance, go to an Arizona food bank, go to azfoodbanks.org, and there's a way to find a food bank near you. But those folks who continue to serve on the front lines in food banks, making sure that our neighbors have what they need, it's just an incredible story.
Well, Dave, I'm really glad to hear that you guys are hanging on through this and that you're getting some of those volunteers. But obviously, to anyone who can give right now, the need is great, and it's probably going to continue to get even greater, it looks like. So please do what you can. And Dave, we're here for you. Anything we can do, please let us know. Thanks for joining us.